Hey folks, how's it going? Welcome back to Sunset Falls. We have a few different things we want to accomplish today, the first of which is upgrading Sunset Falls University. We are now at level 2. We are a recognized university, and we have just a ton of students that we need to accommodate on our campus. We also need to upgrade our attractiveness, and to do that, we have plenty of more buildings and opportunities. So we're definitely going to get to expanding our campus area today. The other thing that I'd like to do is actually work over here. So in our last episode, we built out our great little waterfall, right? As part of Sunset Falls. I like to kind of keep working on this area and I have a few ideas of what we can do here. So we'll kind of have to see how that goes. But we also get the opportunity to play around with a few new mods that have just been released. I'm specifically referring to the new network multi-tool mod that we have here. It does a lot of things that other tools do, and it does them sometimes potentially differently or sometimes potentially better as well. So just kind of absolutely killing it. This entire set of mods, fantastic. So if you haven't had a chance to go check out that mod creator, definitely take a look there. Okay, so first things first, we're going to hop into our university. So let's see what new items we have to include here. So dorms, study halls, and groundskeeping. And I think this futsal club, we're already there. We've now unlocked our outdoor study space, the gymnasium, the cafeteria, and a fountain. So in the fountain, yeah, we definitely want to put that in somewhere. I'd love to get that kind of in the middle here. And I think we can make that work if we use a little bit of anarchy. So now we're just going to want to get that right in the middle here. I think that won't be too difficult to do. The only question is going to be if we do that while breaking the road connectivity. It looks like we can do that successfully. So now you have this awesome view. Right when you're coming down here, you get the mountains, you get the buildings, you get this awesome fountain that's a little bit green apparently. That's an interesting draw distance issue there. Oh, it's because I have it selected. Okay. Whew. All right. We're good, folks. The other thing that I think we can put over there is also one of our statues. I know we had one of the statues over here that we were planning on using. This nice little George Washington statue or whoever this guy is. Just toss it right there for the second. Then we can move it back into place. So I think we'll put this kind of right in front of the fountain here, sideways. I don't know who this guy is, but he seems like a pretty important guy, part of our university. And now you have this nice little area right down here. Okay, so other things that we need to do. I do want to work on this dorm situation. So something you'll notice about the dorms is you can't actually place them on the roads as well, right? So I think what we actually want to do is realign these to this road that's going along here and kind of have a whole set of dorms back in this space. So I'm actually going to... I don't really want to delete what we have is the only problem. I think we need to be a little bit craftier than that. So maybe we'll just add in a second set of dorms. Like right now, what I'm trying to do is get into our paths and just completely forget where everything is. And we want to go finally to our university path. And we'll do the one with decorations along this side, I think. But we are going to have to pull it out just a little bit here. There we go, to make sure that we're not clipping right into the building. Okay, so we have kind of a little bit of a loop there. And then let's see if we can get kind of one of our additional buildings out here. I think actually potentially the cafeteria makes a ton of sense to have right next to our dorms right here. And I think we can potentially keep extending our path up and maybe switch to parallel the road here. And that's something that I think could be pretty nice to have here. There we go. Just kind of go up here for a little bit longer. Give ourselves quite the path there. Connect up there, and we'll do plenty again kind of along the way, but that's at least a good starting point, right? Okay, so I think then let's maybe kind of bring this up. Well, let's see, what does this outdoor study space look like? Whoa, this is huge. Okay, can we fit this right back here without disturbing the rock? Yes, we can. Awesome. You love to see it. I don't like it there at all though, so let's actually move this over here. I think this might look better right over here. Get these paths to connect just a little bit. Let's actually, the other thing I kind of want to do is go through here and just clean this up a little bit too, because we got a lot of stuff in here that just kind of makes this look, a little bit not the best. So we're gonna go through here, clean most of this up. Trying not to remove any roads while we're at it, but trying to get rid of kind of just the excess logs and little random bushes, and we'll do kind of our own landscaping in this space as we go through and fill it out, right? I'll leave this one big rock here. It's kind of like a campus mascot, but for the most part, I think we want to clean things up and do it our way. So, okay, this looks a little bit better, and let's actually go through and we'll just pull a few of these out as well. I'll leave that one there. You may survive, tree. Okay, so let's get a few more of these buildings in. So we have our university gym. That's definitely something that we'd want to include here. And I think maybe we'll kind of put this back here, kind of like having a slightly more secluded area for that. And especially if you kind of look at the curve of the road here, it makes sense to fit something in kind of along here where you'd have this utility road right in the back, right? The other thing we can do along here too, I think is, I don't know if I'll have enough space to squeeze more dorms in. So actually, let's find out really quickly. I'm gonna copy one of these. It'd be great to be able to fit 2 along here. I mean, we can fit 2 side by side, which is not awful. I think that kind of makes sense to me. And one thing I'd like to do actually too is bring, whoops. Nope, there we go. Bring this road through, but actually undecorated. Just kind of bring it along there. So we have a little path break up there. And then maybe we can fit in a little bit of a park or nature space or something like that kind of right in here too. Because I think the nice part about campus, especially for a larger campus, is just having these nice random little spots, with things. Little kiosk here. This looks very similar actually. Boom, there we go. A little kiosk and fountain, but you want kind of like these nice little extra spaces for students to actually use. All right, so let's actually start the game running while we're doing this now, because we do want to be able to kind of keep an eye on our university. Whoa, our attractiveness is way higher. Our student number, again, is still fantastic. Our academic works are chugging along, and I think let's add a few more staff. I think we're doing a pretty good job here. Oh, and we do want to give a scientific grant as well, so let's do that. Uh-oh, we are running out of power. Why is that the case? Oh, for some reason, our power got disconnected. There we go. Let's try that again. No idea how that happened, but I think we're in a better spot now. Oh, and water too. That is going to be a problem. Let's go ahead and add that down here, and then actually hop back over to the road over here. Just kind of loop that up. There we go. Okay, so I think we're doing pretty well here. I don't see anything else huge that we can add. We have our new university. We have our new gym. I'm going to turn off our day to night cycle so we don't run too far away. There we go. The last thing is really just the fountain, which we included there as well. We have our School of Law over here, which seems to be doing just fine. Plenty of students. Wow, so many students in the city right now. This is absolutely crazy. Our academic year is moving through. We only have 6 weeks left, so we should be doing okay. The tuition fees and expenses, this is a little bit tough. Our academic cost is pretty substantial. And so we are probably going to end up losing money overall. But I think that's okay for the time being, especially because, we're not playing with any money. But, it's just an important part of our campus. So I do think we want to increase student health, increase student happiness, and let's do this faculty bonus thing. I'm very okay with that. I mean, again, we're not losing any money. I think, again, we want to hold off on our universal education until a little bit later. I don't think that's really something the city could support right now, even from a logical perspective. If we were to actually be, paying for that, we only have 26,000 residents, so I don't think we're quite there yet, although we did just explode our fees. So, make of that what you will. Okay, cool. So Sunset Falls University seems to be doing okay. I still think that we're going to maybe do a little bit more kind of just intentional road design through here, especially with our little paths here. Like we could kind of have something come along out of here maybe and kind of curve around. Let's do this, and let's go actually back to the undecorated path here because we kind of want to get around this rock kind of like this. There we go. Connect back up here. So we still have a lot of open space here. We're not 100% sure what we're going to do with that yet. Maybe kind of bring this over potentially. Let's see what we think about this. I don't know if I love this quite yet. Again, we just have a few cars in here. I still think that's okay. Again, we're trying to really avoid as much as possible having the actual students near the roads. So really right now is trying to keep the students on the paths, but it seems like everything is going relatively well there. And I think this can obviously be called, maybe Sunset Falls University Circle. That makes sense to me. There we go. And then we may name these streets after kind of specific buildings, because note that we have the School of Law, but I assume that somebody would have donated a not insignificant amount of money to actually create this building. And so I think we can take a page out of City Planner's playbook and make sure that we are taking prominent citizens of the community and applying their naming privileges accordingly. And these dorms look to be doing pretty well here. These new dorms don't have any new students in them quite yet, but I think we're getting there. Cafeteria seems to be operating pretty well. So I think we're doing okay with our new university. And I think university just tends to unlock things a little bit slowly over the course of the year. I mean, we're also going at the slowest speed. So let's speed that up a little bit. We'll go work on another project. Okay, so the other thing I'd like to work on is our mountain observatory. So I've kind of had my eye on this space for quite a while, and I think we'd like to put something really neat up here that we can kind of expand and kind of put maybe some walking trails or a nature preserve in this larger space here, kind of on this ridge. So there's kind of a few different options. We do have kind of right here, if you look out here, you get some pretty great views of the city. Looks fantastic. But then you also have kind of this larger, flatter space over here too. So the real question is, do we want to make an observatory that has a little bit more space on it, or somewhere that's flatter and could be more support more activity? And I actually think, up until just about 2 seconds ago, I was going to put it right here. I actually think over here it makes more sense. And what I'd like to do is actually flatten this out and just have a little road that winds up there. But this gives us space for silly things like, parking and public transportation, so that you could actually get up and use this space. And what I also really like is that the space is a little bit closer to this side, so we will have to take care of that, but it's not going to be that hard to get over here with some switchbacks too. So what this will let us do is put in a really interesting piece of experience, put in a really interesting piece of the city that provides a unique experience here that will provide some interesting access challenges as well, right? So all right, let's go ahead into our tools here. I'm going to grab this. We want to be able to level some things out. Let's keep our brush size really low right now. And I'm going to just, that's, all right. So starting off strong. Okay, so here we go. What I want to do is kind of grab this main ridge here and expand this out. We're going to actually increase our brush size just a little bit more. So we'll actually kind of have this little like natural space right here, right? Where you're getting that little rim here, but I think that's okay. So let's kind of just keep expanding this out just a little bit. Now let's go grab our asset. So what I'd like to use is the observatory asset right here. Technically we need road access, but we can fix that pretty easily. But let's actually start thinking about that now. So there's kind of this natural ridge that comes down here. What I'd like to do is potentially follow that ridge down for a little bit, and then we'll switch over to doing some switchbacks. So if we bring, and let's go into our freeform tool here. And actually, let's also go ahead and turn on our topography lines. I have no idea which one of these it is. I think it's this one. There we go. So now we can kind of, oh, hey, whoa. All right, so we lost a ton of students. That's a little bit odd. But we did have 2 academic works published. So we are now at level 3. We can build a ton of additional stuff. Let's put that in our back pocket for later and keep moving on. All right, so what I want to do here is kind of bring a road, run it right along here for a second, and kind of bring it down along here and really try to kind of follow this ridge line as much as we can. We may actually go back and straighten this out just a little bit here. And then we're going to curve all the way down through here and then potentially back up and around. But we will have to kind of play this by ear a little bit. I think once we come back out to the larger view. There we go. Okay, so you can kind of see we have a lot going on here. And I think what we want to do is maybe straighten a little bit of this out. Let's go through here and then straighten just some of this. So we're not trying to get rid of all of the character here, but also acknowledge that some of this is maybe not quite feasible. So let's go again on a kind of curve. Actually, what does this look like here? There we go. Okay, much better. All right, so now let's play with some fun new tools. So I don't think we actually want to go all the way down there. I think we might actually want to taper this up just a little bit more even. Curve this a little bit more here and kind of go right along this ridge and then down in here. And then we'll take this kind of down through this space here. I think we can kind of curve through most of this, and now we can kind of get ourselves out of this space by going along there. Okay, so again, we'll take care of that eventually, but this is going to be a pretty twisty and curvy road here. Okay, so now here, I think we want to flatten some things out just a little bit. So let's maybe pick like this ridge line, and we'll actually take this down a little bit here. Just kind of make that a little bit straighter and flatten out most of this just so we have a little bit more space here. Bring that along here. And I think carve out a little bit from this side as well. So flatten that out. Okay. And now I'm just going to leave the rest of that alone for the time being. So what I'd like to test out here, well, first of all, let's actually put our observatory in, put it right up here. Wow, that looks really cool. All right, so I have this awesome observatory right above the city. I actually am going to rotate this, I think. So let's go ahead and do that. Oops, oh, I have the multi-select on. There we go. We'll put this up just a little bit, kind of where we want it. I think it's just over here, yeah. There we go. I think that'll work out okay. Let's grab this road, just bring it along here. So now I kind of have this, again, this little like lip protecting it here. Now let's go in and throw some power lines in. We have those power lines right here, so I'm gonna try to, oops, I think I have to connect up to them this way. We'll try to extend this all the way along just with our underground power. It's just gonna be easier, honestly, at this point. Oh, wow, and by some miraculous coincidence, we went right through our water line, so we're doing great right there. Okay, let's try to straighten this out just a little bit. You can see it's a little bit crazy here. What we're gonna actually do is try to get a really nice slope here. And I'd like to use one of our new tools today, our network multi-tool here. We're gonna use this set slope mode. So basically all you have to do is just grab where you wanna start your slope, and then it'll immediately start highlighting all of the other nodes available to you. It kind of shows you the different grade as you go along here. This is a pretty aggressive grade, obviously. And we want to slope all this out, make it nice and smooth. And I'm actually going to go all the way down to, I think, right here and see how this goes. So now we can see all the grades here. And all you have to do is hit enter. Whoa. Okay. So don't like that. Do not like that. And you actually can't Command Z on that. So we're going to have to get a little bit more creative here because that was actually pretty bad, I think, but that was my own fault, not the fault of the tool, fault of me using it improperly, right? All right, so what we're gonna do, I think, is maybe starting here, let's just grab all of this and move it down because we want to make sure that it's actually here, it's probably gonna be faster to just delete it, right? Yeah, that's better. Okay, so let's go back here, kind of go back along this ridge. Actually, don't want to do that. Let's go. There we go. Back along this ridge, but acknowledge that we're moving down. And then we kind of just want to curve right around here. Here, we'll bring this out a little bit more. Let's see how this works. All right, let's do snap just a little bit, 6 and 6. And kind of snap 6 and 6 more out. That's 7 and 7. 4 and 4. All right, I'm okay with 4 and 4. All right, and then we kind of go right along this ridge as well, and then connect back up. Okay, so I think the problem was that we put a few too many things in our slope options here. So if we start maybe here, we try to slope through here and see how that works. That's a little bit better. Yeah, you can see, and we might have to smooth it out just a little bit, but I think that kind of gets at what we were trying to do. Just kind of smooth right through here. Without necessarily getting a little bit too crazy with our ridge coming along here. So now, the second thing we can do is just then again, just go slope in separate places. So now, get there, 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 and there, slope those out, not nearly as bad, right? And one thing we might actually want to do here is, again, just kind of go grab these and just lower all of these just a little bit. We have to get around this tree. Man, the selection is killing me. I think it's the tree. I don't even really know. Whatever. We'll bring those down too. There we go. So again, a little bit more of an intense grade, but I think it'll work out just fine. Okay, so now we got this up here. It seems to be operating just fine. It still needs a few more people, but clearly the whole city needs a few more people, so we will definitely get there. We will need to figure out a few different modes of transportation to get up here, but for now, I think we are doing okay. We have our awesome observatory looking out over the city. You know, I think in reality, we may not actually want your observatory to be right in the middle of the city, probably because you get a ton of city light. So this may not be the most realistic aspect of this build, but I do think it's a cool feature. So I'm gonna leave it in for the time being. Kind of reminds me of like the LA Observatory, kind of making it a little bit more accessible to people, right? Okay, let's go back to our university and see what new opportunities we have over here. So we are now a 3-star university. Our campus attractiveness is in the toilet, apparently, but we are working on some academic works. Let me go over here. We're going to give a grant. We have 15 people working here. We have plenty of students. And we actually probably still have a fairly significant capacity issue as far as students go. So if I go over here, we can see that we still have only a capacity for 34,000 roughly, and we still have so many eligible. So one thing we will have to start thinking about very shortly is another form of public transportation to get over here. So right now, I actually don't even think we're running any bus lines over here, and we kind of really should be. So that's definitely something that we should be thinking about as we get a little bit further along here. And I don't know if we have any kind of like distinct lines here. I do think it would be worth kind of having a bus line here. Maybe that at least just serves Washington Square for the people here who would actually want to be using it. So let's see if we go like up here, we stop every few blocks, right? Kind of go right in this area and just serve this like very local space, not really, commuters per se, but make sure that we can kind of get people along here who still need to get to school. And maybe kind of come actually right down there, and then up there one more, and then just connect that back up. So that's our super local Washington Square SFU line. So let's just go ahead and name that as well. I believe, is it this one that we just put down? Yeah. So it's Wash Square to SFU. Awesome. And we'll give it a different color. Let's give it, I don't know, maybe that color. Always hit escape instead of enter. There we go. Okay. So now we're good. All right. And we'll see kind of what buses end up servicing that route. We should be able to catch them pretty quickly because they're obviously a very, very specific color. But it'll take them a while to get to the route from the bus depot. All right, so getting back in here. Now we actually have a statue of our own, huh? Let's just throw this down and see what this looks like. Okay. Interesting little academic statue. Let's actually move this back over to the law school. I like the idea of putting that right over here. Having a nice little park. Let's see if we can even kind of just snug it up a little bit here. If I grab this, can we? There we go. Like that. Maybe kind of right there. It has to be on the other side of that little tree though. So nice. Our nice little park right there. I think we unlocked another pretty large building as well too. We have commencement office, we have our math club, our library, and our School of Medicine is the other big one that we unlocked here too. So we may actually kind of create a different area on campus around that. I think it could be pretty neat. So, all right, let's think about this. Our commencement office is where you'd actually, have commencement, right, is my understanding. That could have fit there pretty well, to be honest with you, if we didn't have this path coming through. I don't really see anyone using that, so let's pull that out and get our commencement office right there. I think it makes a ton of sense that we would do that, kind of with this really, really nice backdrop of campus. Man, you gotta love that. Oh, there we go. We have a ton of people waiting for the bus stop already. That is a very good sign in my mind. Definitely means that bus stop is not going to go to waste. And I actually think we may want to put in a little bit more public transport infrastructure, kind of somewhere like right here, So we actually may end up moving the study hall back a little bit because I think this administration building is doing plenty of work over here. So we may kind of want to carve this out for some public transportation. Something to keep in mind. And I think we do have a few of these 4-lane roads with buses and taxis, but they're not the same cool bridge. It's not the same cool bridge. We'll workshop it. What I do want to do is think about a separate kind of campus for our School of Medicine, right? So let's go over here. I think we'll grab some of this road here, kind of bring this right up. I think what would be nice here is to make something that's pretty structured in terms of a few kind of different like blocks per se, and really kind of adjusting to that idea that the School of Medicine would potentially have a little bit more infrastructure around it. So I'm going to bring this out. Actually, it's going to be a little bit hard to see with these trees here. Let's turn anarchy off so we don't really need it for this. There we go. Okay, that was a nice curve here. So our School of Medicine, yeah. Ooh, I unintentionally sized this just about perfectly. So let's put that, I think, right here. I like that. And then we'll bring this road in just a little bit here. We need all of these 3 sections. Let's bring that up here. There we go. So our School of Medicine, let's pause that really quickly. We do have water kind of coming through part of this, but not all of this. So let's go up here, down here, loop this up. There we go. In terms of power, good, it is connected over there. So this is something where, again, You know, maybe our transport hub actually ends up over here. I'm not 100% sure how we're going to do this yet. We even have a ferry stop here. That could be pretty cool. Does our ferry system get all the way over here? Not necessarily, but it could. Definitely things to think about. Kind of hold on to that for the time being. Out of water. Why are you still saying that? Oh, it's because the game is still paused. That's why. Okay, so let's think about what other buildings we'd have over here. I do think we could have a nice outdoor study space, maybe like right in front of the School of Medicine here. And then also kind of create almost a little mini campus over here with some more dorms too. So I think we could potentially have a bunch of dorms right along the back here if they're going to fit. Looks like they would just fit here. So let's actually do that, I think. We have a dorm there and then run kind of another quick line here. And again, we can just kind of have this. And we can actually turn anarchy on for this. I don't think it matters that much. Have this path kind of run right behind the school here and bring a path down here. Actually, let's not do that. Let's put a path a little bit further instead and then get another dorm along here. We're going to move all three of these things back. Actually, no, I don't want to do it that way. Let's just pull that off. Leave that there. Then have our second path run essentially right through it until we figure out exactly where we need it to be. Okay, so now I put that right there. Those dorms are pretty close to each other, but that actually looks pretty solid, honestly. So let's double check our math here, see how long this actually was. Looks like it was about 12 units. Let's go another 12 units down. Alrighty, pull that across there. And then we're just going to kind of essentially copy this look here. Have one on this side and one on this side. Okay, perfect. And because we're doing that, let's actually pull this out, break this up just a little bit. Maybe we'll actually have something going this way instead. Actually, let's maybe curve it. That'll kind of throw us for a loop here. And have something kind of curve this way. There we go. So that gives us a little bit more space for, again, something kind of interesting over here. Maybe get another one of these fountain statues. I think there's going to be another statue that we'll get, so I'm less worried about this. Actually, let's throw one of the fountains in there. I think that could look nice. I think we can fit one of these little fountain spaces right in here. There we go. Cool. So we have a little fountain area here. Then I'm going to start that up again so we have a little bit more space here. And then I think what we can do is come back over here and actually connect up a few of these. Kind of like right here. I think this will go straight for most of this, actually. Well, here, let's actually do something a little bit more windy, you know? Kind of come along up here and join in right there. So we kind of have a few different paths around campus. And I think also, let's put in, if we can find one, actually, whoops, sorry, let me go back over to paths here. Let's put in a nice little gravel path here, but I think reflects a little bit more of a desire path here. So if you're not familiar with what desire paths are, they're a way, ooh, that looks pretty hideous. Let's back this off. They're actually, a way where people kind of show where they want to walk that you are not offering them, right? So maybe this nature preserve path, actually. So in this case, the desire path is showing that we have not created a way for students to go kind of from this space directly over here. So you could have one here, but more realistically, you could potentially see one here too. It's basically any kind of shortened way that people are going to go that you are not providing service for via how you've actually built this location. So we had one in my college campus where we had a nice big kind of circle like this, and everyone just kind of walked through the side. So that is also something we could potentially try to replicate. Actually, that seems like a pretty fun thing to include around here. Let's pull all of this out and then actually use our free cursor mode, and we're going to throw up University Path Propolis. Where did that go? I literally just saw it. University Path Propolis. Let's make this 60, I think, and then have this like right. Actually, let's go a little bit even larger. I think 80. There we go. Have this kind of like right here. All right. So now, if we go back to our props here, this is where you would see potentially with people kind of cutting through here to get to important spaces. So I'm actually going to put one, I think, basically right here. So you have people that are trying to cut through this space to get somewhere just a little bit faster. and this will be reflected in where we actually put our university paths as well. So we'll have probably a path that comes right down here. Let's actually straighten this out. Yeah, I think that'll work out okay. And then maybe have a path that comes right along here as well. So you can kind of see how students would have been forming their own pathways to cut through right through here. All right, and then this gives us a space to potentially throw in our campus library. I kind of like the idea of the library being in between the law school and the medical school, so I'll put that right there. Let's also maybe bring another, I keep clicking road instead of path. Let's go bring in, I'm going to click everything but the paths apparently. We have another fun path along here. We'll kind of curve it right around the law school, maybe not quite hitting everything, and then we'll go up there. So that'll kind of curve around through here and connect these two concepts. So still a little bit more space in here next to our law school. I think this is the perfect space for maybe a study hall right here. And again, I'm okay with kind of loading this up with services. We're kind of assuming this is a nice little mini campus space here. The other thing I'm looking for is the cafeteria. Awesome. I think we can throw that kind of like right here. We have room to squeeze in the math club or something kind of in the, oops, that's the gym. We want this math club. Kind of trying to figure out where we could potentially put the math club. Let's actually give the math club its own space. How? Yeah, okay, so let's go actually maybe like right in here. Math club is a little bit more secluded on campus. That can kind of be right over there. So the other thing I want to do is actually go in and maybe just include a few more trees in this space. So we have a few different types of brushes here that I've set up. I don't really love any of those right now. Let's just go hunting for a few different tree types that we kind of like to use in this space. You know, I know I've been using a lot of one kind of tree, so I'm trying to get a little bit better about that and using some different types of trees. It would help if I was in the tab with the trees, I suppose. One could make that argument. But just kind of look through in here and see what we have to see if there are any options we like a little bit better. And actually, let's even do this and go search for trees and then explicitly rule out the vanilla and see what we can find, maybe specifically that we're not even using too. Like some of these, you know, these low poly trees, these are great to see. This is just kind of a generic oak tree option. So you can see if you throw a few down here, those look pretty great, right? Let's see what else we have in here. Regular tree, small, gotta love that. We can try a few of these just kind of right along here. You can kind of see how they look a little bit different than the other trees that we have here. So I'm actually going to get rid of that, but maybe we can put in a few of our regular tree columnar. That looks pretty cool. I wonder if we can make a nice kind of curved prop here. Well, it would be good if I didn't suck at this. That would make this harder, clearly. Whoops, that's not what we want. But what we do want to do is go back up here, find our original tree. I think it was this columnar tree, right? And let's actually do a circle here instead. And then we can kind of change it however we need to. We'll get the same general idea across here. And I need to be able to move the center of my circle. I know there's a way you can do this. I just don't remember exactly what it is. And it looks like I'm not going to find it either. Can I turn, if I turn my road guidelines on, maybe I can kind of find the exact center of the circle here. That's what it looks like. So right about there. Let's see. Try it one more time. Oh, we're not going to quite make it. Okay. Let's do this a little bit more officially. We'll take out our desired path and do this the hard but legitimate way. Okay, let's go back and add our desired path back in now. Again, I think we're going to still use the nature reserve path. I like that one a lot. We're just going to go in right about here, curve it through right there. Yeah, perfect. Now we'll just pull our ends and just a little bit there, a little bit there. Cool. Actually, let's wiggle this just a little bit so we got our tree back. There we go. Because we don't want to think that, you know, they somehow modified the landscaping of the space just for the desired path, right? Actually, let's even take the bow out of that just a little bit. There we go. Okay, cool. So I think we can let things rerun again. I'd be curious to see how our campus is doing from our decoration point. Our campus attractiveness is now even higher. Our student capacity is definitely enough here. Our active students rather. Our student capacity is getting better, but we're still not there, to be honest with you. If you pull up any of this, you can see our availability is now in the yellow, but we are getting there. So one thing we could consider doing is putting one or two more dorms in if we have to. but I don't think we're quite there yet. We kind of have these two unique campus spaces that I like for the moment. These guys, I feel a little bit badly for these students. They're kind of just out here near the gym, so that's good for them. I mean, they have a nice little view, I think, of the river, so these would be nice dorms to have yourself, but maybe not the closest to the rest of our amenities and our facilities, right? So 68 students in the School of Medicine, always great to see. All right, so folks, I think we're going to leave it here for the time being. We have a lot of fun stuff on the horizon, though, that I think we kind of have to figure out what's coming next, right? So something we've ignored for a long time is our downtown space. We did just kind of put our canal through, and you'll notice that this whole time things are behaving relatively nicely. In terms of our water levels, seem to be doing just fine here. If anything, they could actually be just a little bit higher. So do I want to futz with this? Do I want to mess with this just a little bit? All right, let's hope we're not doing anything too awful here. We will give this a shot here and see if we don't absolutely destroy everything. Okay, so this is at 0. So let's move this up to just there we go, just 11 in here. See if that kicks the water level up just a little bit. That's all we're doing. All right, so hopefully we don't flood everything. But I do think what we want to do is reconsider how this is developed, and I'm happy to go through and take an axe to a lot of this. If we want to put any of these larger, really unique looking buildings in our city, we're really going to have to take the time to be able to do that. I mean, something like this building looks really neat, right? If you throw it down. But that building is not going to fit in our kind of standard grid structure for the most part, right? So we are going to have to get a little bit more careful about what we put and where we put it, and think about what we want to do to really make the core of our downtown. Because again, like a lot of these assets, they look really great. Well, the beach resort probably is going to be downtown. But any of these kind of higher, get over to just this. Like if you want to use some of these really, really cool buildings here, that one is not even unlocked yet. But we have a ton of really cool stuff we can use. I'm seeing things already that I want to be able to use. Oh, this building, really neat. Look at that, has a road going through it. So cool. So plenty of cool things that we want to use, but we just have to kind of build this out. So one option here is to definitely work on this. Oh, don't get so upset with me. I do think that we want to renovate our public transit too, and I think that kind of comes part and parcel with reconstructing a lot of this space. I do think we want to focus on some sort of transit hub for our university, because this is, again, very low-key right now. A lot of space right here that might work really well. We have plenty of parks to do. We might have to spend a whole episode just going around and fixing up our parks. This park still looks really sad and pathetic. We had plenty of ideas for what we're going to do here that we can still execute on. But this park just looks awful right now, so that's something to keep in mind, think about. Umber Gardens, we put our entrance in and then never did anything with, so plenty of park opportunities all across the board here. And then we also still have a bunch of really neat spaces, especially over here, where we can really kick up our manufacturing into high gear. We haven't really touched this for a few episodes, but we have a lot of work to do over here if we want to make this manufacturing hub worthy of all of our great unique factories that we can put in here. We have a ton of them unlocked so far. We still have a few, obviously the oil industry ones we don't have, or the forestry ones, but we're getting there. And we have, I think, all the farm ones, right? Is that the case? Yeah, we must have all the farm ones. So we have the food factory. But yeah, lots to do, folks. Lots to do. So keep an eye on the channel, and we should have something new out relatively shortly. But until then, thank you for joining me. If you've liked the video, please feel free to leave a like on the actual video itself. And if you're enjoying the channel, as always, please feel free to subscribe if you'd like to see more content. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you next time.